Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop and I'm going to start talking. What's happening? Stop listening to music and start talking to y'all. Good morning. Good morning. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Coach Lee, social connections coach. I help people make more meaningful relationships in their personal and professional life. And I go live Monday, Wednesdays, Saturdays to answer your questions, to give some insight, to draw on the board. If you haven't heard, I'm the best stick figure drawer out there in the interwebs, on the internet. But I want to talk about today our topic. I have a topic every day, and I didn't write it up here, but now you're gonna get an opportunity to watch me write it. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what's going on with you. I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear from you. Say hello. The topic today is incompatibility. Incompatibility. Man, I always pick these big words that just incompatibility. There we go. So many eyes. So many eyes, like patterns of possibility. So many eyes. Um, and so I wanted to talk about incompatibility in your relationships. I talk about family, friends, business, coworkers, any kind of relationship you have. There's incompatibility in it. We're going to talk about how it shows up, why it's here, and what to do about it. If you feel like people don't understand you, they don't appreciate you, they don't accept you, then you're in the right place. If you want to discover how to get out of those kinds of relationships and into relationships where you feel like people understand and appreciate you and accept you more, then of course you're in the right place. So let me know where you're from. Let me know what platform you're watching me from too, because I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, live every Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. So let's talk about incompatibility. Incompatibility is basically when you and the other person don't see eye to eye for those really important values and topics that you might have. You just don't see eye to eye. They don't understand it. They don't appreciate it. They don't accept it. And most of all, they're not curious about it. They're not curious about it. They could care less about how you show up or connecting with you or um, showing appreciation for the things that you like. And we find ourselves in these relationships where we're incompatible because there are some beliefs out there that really just get us stuck, that makes us believe that, well, this is the kind of relationship that's supposed to be, or I can change this kind of relationship. I can change this relationship and we can be more compatible. We just got to figure it out. I remember back in the 80s, there was a song called Opposites Attract. Opposites Attract by I think Paul Abdul and some other person. But wow, it's just, it's not really the way to make those connections. Incompatibility, you need to see it for what it really is. And if they really don't appreciate or understand or accept you, then it's time to release and let go. There's some of these beliefs out there that say, well, you just need to stay with this person. You just need to spend more time, get to know each other. You'll grow together. You'll appreciate each other over time. And we carry that whole belief into any kind of relationship that we have. You think about your family members. Just think about your family members. Those are the people that you probably known for much, much, much longer than anyone else. Your family members, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, all of those people. And you start to develop your sense of self or a character or something like that in your teenage years. You start to develop this sense of what you like and what you don't like, your hobbies, your interests, your own personality. You start to develop those things. And, your parents just can't see why you like art so much. But just give it time. Eventually, they'll come around to help you with your art career. That might be true for some people, but majority of the people, they have their own beliefs and ideas. Their parents have their own beliefs and ideas about how you need to show up, how you're supposed to be. And that's an incompatibility there. They want you to change, and then you want them to change. You want them to be somebody who supports you, and you want to be able to do the work that you want to do. And over time, 5 years, 10 years, even if you decide, look, I'm not listening to you, parents. I'm going to go and do my art career. I'm going to work really hard in it. I'm going to be a stand up comic. I'm going to do all these things that are unconventional to you, that are incompatible with your beliefs. And I'm going to go live my life. Eventually, hopefully, they'll come around. But there are so many people out there who have success with art, who have success with the thing that they wanted to do that just didn't fit the values and beliefs of their parents. And the parents still don't accept it. It's still this piece of incompatibility. And we take that same belief that we think that over time something's going to happen. Over time, things are going to change. Well, it's not quite time that does it. It is conscious effort in understanding and appreciating one's belief. It's conscious effort to do that. So if you're not making a conscious effort, or if they're not making a conscious effort, then it's time to recognize this incompatibility. What can you do? What can you do to create some compatibility? Now, what I'm going to talk about today is pretty difficult. It's hard. It's not easy to do. I'm just sharing it with you so that perhaps you'll have a different tool. Because most people don't know what to do. We're incompatible. Let's wait. Let's hang out. Let's see how it's going to work. Let's see. Eventually, we'll get together, and after some years, they'll come around. They'll see my success, and some years they'll come around. They'll see how happy I am, and then they'll come around. But that doesn't work. It doesn't work. So let me talk about this real quick. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate y'all being in here today. I appreciate your love. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm here for you to answer your questions about your own incompatibilities with your family members, friends, coworkers, business partners, any of those people, whoever. If you see an incompatibility out there, you probably want to say something. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so thanks for the follow, Aquarius. I appreciate that. So best stick figure drawer. This is what I do. Boom, right here. Everybody. So in relationships, new relationships is the distance between you and another person. The relationship between you, the distance between you and the other person. How close can you be emotionally? How close can you get to them emotionally? How close can they get to understanding you? How close can you get to understanding them, their point of view, where they're coming from? And many people are miles and miles apart. This is billions of miles. I don't even think there are billions of miles on the planet, but there are billions of miles emotionally. They're just so separated from each other. And they call each other friends, and they call each other family. They call each other connections. Like, yeah. You feel incomplete, or maybe some incompatibility. And that's because of these beliefs that we have. So everybody has their own beliefs about how the world works, about how people should be, about how people should act around them, about what's appropriate. They have all these own beliefs, and they come from people like our parents. They come from our family of origin. They come from our life experiences. And the incompatibility starts when we start to develop our own. We have our own beliefs and ideas. So this is the way you see the world. This is the way I see the world. This is the way anybody sees the world. And then we run into somebody else who doesn't have those similar, the exact same beliefs. We run into those people who don't have the exact same beliefs, but we believe, but we both carry this idea. I would put it out there, represent it with something here. How about a circle? Because really what draws us together is that we have some kind of compatibility. When we talk about incompatibilities on the level that I'm talking about, it's major values. It's major values in how you see the world, your history, your hobbies, your habits, and it's how you feel about those things that keep you separated from each other. We connect because right here, these people will be connected. This is their thoughts, beliefs, and ideas about how the world works. This little red thing will connect these two people because they believe that, well, incompatibility is part of being together. Having these huge chunks of disconnection or different beliefs makes us opposites attract. Makes a good relationship. We'll eventually get over it. We'll eventually connect. And what's really happening is that one or the other is trying to change that belief, trying to change it. So I talked about how maybe you want you want to have an art career, and this is your personality and this is your belief and you're excited about it. This is the big one up here. And your parents over here, they are people who want you to go to school to be an accountant or a doctor or someone in finance to make money. And they can't, this incompatibility piece right here is just huge. It's huge. But what keeps you together is this little belief that you have about, well, they're my family members. They're my family. And this is what we do. Eventually, I can change this. I can change their thoughts. And they're like, well, eventually the family members like, well, I have authority. I pay for the bills here. I have power. I can change this. Eventually, they'll see the way I want to see it. But this idea right here, both of you share it. So both of you will continue to talk about it. So both of you will continue to fight about it. You'll continue to fight about it. But what it looks like in conversation, because we can't really know what they're thinking unless people really tell us, unless it manifests. We'll get an experience of it. We'll get an experience of what they believe. So if you're going around thinking that you know other people, unless you've experienced what they believe, unless it comes out as in this is the intention and the impact. So we know if you were going to art school that this is a belief that you would that you believe in yourself and you want to do artwork. You really are passionate against it, even though somebody's telling you shouldn't, you can't, it's not supposed to happen. It's going to manifest in this world. Your desire will manifest because you are going to do that thing. You're going to art school, you're spending time watching videos, you're practicing, you're going to meet other people, you're going to network to build your art career. If that was your desire, it would show, it would manifest, right? And so for this person, you might not know, you won't know exactly what they're thinking and the process and the why behind the whole thing, but you'll see it because your parent wants to stop you. They criticize you. They make fun of your artwork. They say it's not great. They do all the things to stop you from doing what you want to do because it's incompatible with their belief system. It's incompatible with how they think you should be, right? So we're with that. I saw somebody say so true. Yes, it's incompatible. But the piece right here keeps you connected. But we want to resolve this kind of thing. We need to resolve it. And the way we can resolve this incompatibility is to examine what connects us in the first place. What connects us in the first place? So this is this idea, this little red dot over here. Both of you have it. That's the reason why you want to talk to each other in the first place. It's because you have a belief about how you can show up for the other person. You have a belief, both of these people have a belief that they can change this person's mind. I can change my parents' mind. Just watch how successful I'm going to be. I can change my kid's mind because they have all the power. And this is the thing that keeps you connected. You want to talk about it. We want to talk about those things. We want to talk about it. Have a conversation about it. But we don't. We don't talk about why I think I can change your mind. We don't talk about that. We don't say anything like that to other people because it sounds condescending. I can change your mind. Look, I'm just going to do what I want. I'm frustrated and angry, but I'm going to do what I want. Both people are frustrated and angry. But they don't talk about that piece that they're frustrated and angry. Where does that come from? Why are you so frustrated? Why are you so angry that I do what I want with my life? In order to really make a connection with people, the definition of connection for me, and if you'd like to keep this definition for yourself and carry it with you to other relationships, it's demonstrating that you understand how they feel about their experiences with you. Demonstrate that you understand how they feel about their experience with you. We start by talking about how I think I can change your mind. That's a scary conversation to have. because immediately I'm going to get defensive. What, you going to change my mind? I know much better than you. Try that with one of your parents. Your parents are already trying that with you. They're not talking about the specific thing that happens. They're just saying, I believe that you need to do this. You need to work this way. You need to work this hard. You don't need to have a life where you're struggling and suffering. I want you to do something else. And you're like, I want to be creative. I don't want to be miserable like you. I want to be happy. It's incompatibility. It's incompatible. But you want to talk about this, these feelings that you have about that you're going to change somebody. You're going to be able to change someone. And it's going to open up the conversation. Well, how do we get started? Where do we start with this conversation? How does it work? It starts with a lot of self-reflection. Really. It starts with a lot of self-reflection. Because a lot of us don't even know that we have this desire to change people. We don't know it. And we are in these relationships where it's incompatible and it's toxic and we're frustrated. And we ask ourselves these questions like, why don't they do the things I want them to do? Why don't they? We don't even say it like that. We say, why don't they text me? Why don't they call me? Why don't they check on me? Why don't they show appreciation for me? Because you would do it for them. Because you would do things for them. You would show up for them. You would call them. You would text them. You would plan events and hangouts and schedule things. You'd want them to treat you the same way. We don't talk to them about the thing. So we don't know how to. We don't know how to because we're not really realizing that we want them to change this belief right here, this idea right here. What do y'all think about that? What do you think about having this conversation with someone, like telling, I want to change you. I want to change everything about you. Not everything about you, just these big core beliefs. There's these big core ideas that you have. I want to change that. Oh, you think it's not cool to call me back? You have to wait like 2 days to call me back. Well, I want to change that about you. I want you to call me right away. Because I would call you right away. I want you to invite me to things. I want you to listen to me when I talk. I want you to do that. Well, what happened? What do you think will happen? It's awkward when you can't meet the other's expectations. Oh, I see. They get mad. Yeah. That's interesting that you brought that up, Lunar Insight. It's awkward when you can't meet the other person's expectations. It is. It is so awkward because you want to meet their expectations. Perhaps you can't. But the thing we do, instead of talking about the fact that we can't meet the expectations, we just go on and never say anything about it. Don't say how we feel about the expectations or what to do instead or what we set those expectations. So what I think is that when you start talking about this thing, these ideas that, I feel some kind of way and I want to change you, when you start talking about those things, you really start getting down to the incompatibility of the relationship, and you can see it change. You will see it change. So if I can't meet your expectations, then it's up to you to know that I can't meet your expectations and do with that information what you will. Well, don't try to change me. Rather, it's just going to cause you pain. It's going to cause you suffering. It's going to cause you frustration because my belief about what I want and who I am and what I do is solid. And I know I can't meet your expectations. So here you go. I'm telling you I can't, I won't, I'm not interested. Whatever it is, I'm not showing up the way you want me to show up for you. I'm not showing up the way you want me to show up for you. So what do? Most people, what do you do? Well, most people, they will try to change you. And they'll cause themselves frustration and pain, arguments, all that kind of stuff. If you can't meet their expectations, it's up to you to realize that maybe they want more from you and it's time to let go because you just can't give it to them. Release them to find that person or those people or whatever things that are out there to allow them to get what they want. Release the frustration that you have about meeting their expectations and meeting their needs. Release that awkwardness because you know you can't do it. Now they know you can't do it, and there's no more expectation of it to happen. Woo. Let go. And the problem is, I don't know why we don't do this. You know why we don't do this. I know why we don't do this. I know why I haven't done it. Everything I talk about here is from my own personal life experiences. And I know why I don't do it because, well, I don't want to let go of the person. I don't want to let go of the person. Or maybe I just don't want to feel like a failure. Maybe I don't want to upset them, so I won't talk about it. I won't let go. I won't do the thing. I'll keep trying. And they'll be more frustrated and more frustrated. And I'll be more frustrated because it can't meet their needs. And it's just a big mess. It's a big mess. I've done this in so many of my relationships. It's just a big mess. So like, I can't meet your needs. You can't meet mine. Or I can't get on their level of expectations. So we need to talk about it. We need to say something about it to each other. And I don't know how to say the thing. And I'm afraid if I say the thing, all this bad stuff is going to happen. So we just stay here in a little limbo. A little limbo. And we're not sure about what to do. We're just let that resentment build up. It's building, it's building, it's building, and it's building. And it gets more frustrating every single time. And it'll explode. And then you'll try and put that resentment back in the bag. Just put it back down. Push it back down for the next time until it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds and it gets faster each time. The resentment explosion gets faster each time because it's already pressed down so much. Boom. One incident. One little incident. Disaster strikes because you're not meeting my needs. What about when you let go, the other person is still trying? So there are two people here. That's a really great question. Again, there's two people here in this relationship, in our relationship. There's you, and the other person. You let go means that you do not put any energy into this person. You don't put any energy into them. You start believing that they cannot meet your needs. And you trust that they cannot meet your needs. So when they try, you don't acknowledge. Does that sound harsh? Does that sound harsh? When you try, you don't acknowledge. When they try, you don't acknowledge that they were trying. You already know because you've given them time after time. Remember the frustration and the explosion that happens. Let go. That is you letting go. They can't hold on to something that is not there. They can't hold on to you if you're not there, if you're not giving energy, if you're not focused on it. They're going to realize eventually that their trying is just futile. Hopefully they will recognize that they don't need to do this thing that hurts them anymore. They don't need to try anymore because it's a pain, because they can't meet your needs. They can't do it. Hopefully they'll recognize that they've had enough and that they can now move on to something else. There's nothing to rekindle. There's nothing to recreate. There's nothing to open up. Just go somewhere else where you don't have to try as hard, where you can be relaxed, where you can be comfortable, where you can be easily accepted. That's what I mean. So release those people. You can release the incompatibilities. When you recognize that the values that you have are just way too incompatible, there's too much incompatibility there, You release it, let it go. And you have the power. It's your relationship. You have the power. It's your relationship. You let people get as close to you as you want, and you invite them to get close to you as you want them to be. You invite them closer to you. And if you don't want them close, then you just push them away. And it's the same way with other people. If you want to invite them close and they don't want to come as close, then that's okay too. That feels like rejection, and it's difficult because we don't really handle rejection well. I haven't really taught to handle rejection. Like, sit down and realize people will tell us rejection is a part of life. Just be okay with rejection. Just go out there. It's not a big deal. But those are feelings that you need to process, or else they just live in your body and you don't want to be rejected again. And you figure that, well, I'll just keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And then you create these kind of relationships where it's incompatible, where you have this belief and they have a different belief about how the world works, about how you should be for them, about other things. And you keep trying, and then you get frustrated because you don't want to be rejected. Don't want to be rejected. How does that land with y'all? How does that land? Because we really need to start talking about this thing right here. Most of us don't even know that this is here, that we really want to change somebody. I want you to be different. That's our toxic relationships. Those are our toxic relationships. We're like, why aren't our friends calling us? Why aren't they texting us? They know I'm having a hard time. Why haven't they reached out to me? I would reach out to them. You want them to be different. We don't talk about the fact that we want them to be different, how we want them to show up. And maybe if we even try, we don't have the language to do so because no one's taught us how to do it. No one's taught us how to do it. So this is the way I think it works. Based on my own life experiences and what I discovered about myself and my family, observing other people, my own relationships. Of course, we have this up here. These are our beliefs and ideas and so forth. And I'm going to make this a little smaller so I can draw more people, so y'all can see all these people. Thank you dearly. I needed this insight. You are so welcome. Take it with you and do something amazing. Okay. That wasn't much smaller. Best. All right. So I'm talking about like patterns. My company's called Patterns of Possibility because we're recognizing these patterns that continue to pass on until we make a conscious change, a conscious choice to change those patterns. And so I was talking about this generational thing and about how we believe that incompatibility is the way to go. Like, well, we just can deal with it. It's not a big deal. We're just like, all right, our relationship is going to be incompatible, and that's how it works. Yeah. So let's call these the boomers. Okay, boomers. Gen X. And we've got millennials. And I think, what is it? What's after millennials? Millennials and Gen X? No, Gen Z. Gen Z. That's me. Gen Z. See? I'm a millennial. So I'm an older millennial, but I'm a millennial. But so we have these ideas about how compatibility is spread throughout our generations. And look at us, we're separate because we might be the ones that changes this idea, changes the idea of incompatibility. But so it's all about connection. So I talk about emotional connection. If you want to connect with somebody, you demonstrate that you understand how they feel about their experiences. I understand how I feel about how they feel about their experiences being alive. But many of us don't even know how we feel. How are we going to understand somebody else? We don't know how we feel. And the reason why we don't is because we haven't been taught, of course. We haven't been given an opportunity to really figure this out. These people, the boomers, they've got all this chaos going on inside of their head because they were back in the day where they just had to work. They just had to survive. They had to put a minority, put woman on top of that. It's like I don't have time to feel my feelings. I've got to go to work. I've got to make money. I'm having these kids. I'm with this man I don't like. I have this life I don't really like, but I'm trying to live. I'm trying to make it happen. I'm gonna do everything I possibly can to make my life better. And so just work and grind and work and grind and hustle and don't practice those feelings. Don't don't access those feelings. Go to work at the steel yard and the coal mines. Work on the farm. Have a bunch of kids. There's no other options. How do I feel about having this experience? Well, maybe I don't like it. I'm not going to poke around and try to figure it out. There's no other options. I just need to grind. I just need to work. I just need to go. I just need to get because I need to eat. This is their mentality. And so the expression of their feelings is suppressed. They don't know how to say the thing. They don't know how to say, I'm upset. I'm sad. They're like, put that away. Don't ever share your feelings with me ever again. Don't say you're disappointed. They don't even say that. They don't have the ability to say because they haven't been able to process what's going on up here to make it nice and clear. It's all chaotic. And so when they say things, it looks like this. It looks like this. Chaos. You mofo, instead of being like, I'm angry. You mofo, you did this, I'm gonna wreck your face. Or maybe they'll use some kind of substance and they'll drink a lot because they don't want to feel the feelings. They don't know how to process. There are no tools to actually process the feelings. And so they pass it right on down, this chaos. They pass it right on down to Gen X. Gen X. And we're smart as humans. We're really intelligent beings. We're amazing creatures who are like, you know what? I want my life to be better. I don't know what this is, but I don't want that. But they still get it. They still get some chaos because they haven't been passed down the tools. They haven't passed down any tools to figure out how they feel about anything. It's just, I got to grind. I got to go. This is what they get. They watch their parents do this, but they know that they don't want to share this chaos. They know they don't want to share their chaos with the kids, with their kids. They know they don't want to do that, but they haven't been given any tools. You know, therapy was around. Psychology was doing this thing, but it was heavily chastised and it was a big taboo. You don't go to a shrink. Are you crazy or something? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why are you doing that? And they don't want to be rejected. Right? They don't want to be rejected. It's all incompatibility. It's like their whole being is incompatible with everything that they may have wanted to do. If they had hopes and dreams and things like that, they didn't get an opportunity. Many of them didn't get an opportunity to pursue them. It's just a bunch of chaos. I don't know how I feel about getting married out of high school, but that's what they did. They went to college to find their partner. Women went to college to find their partner. They did the jobs that their fathers did. The sons, they did the jobs that their fathers did. And then you put minority on top of that. You put minority or any other struggle on top of that. I'm just talking basic stuff. Like, I can't process my feelings. I just need to grind. I need to go. Everybody's keeping me down. I'm frustrated, but I cannot express it. I can't pinpoint the reason why I feel this way. There's no help for me. There are no tools. And so as much as they may not want to pass down the chaos to their kids, they do the same thing. Maybe they're not as harsh. Maybe they don't drink and yell, but there were TV shows or there were commercials for this particular generation. Do you know where your kids are? Do you know where your kids are? There was one that I saw on the TikTok about, it was a song about how your kids have feelings too. That's like, they're so up in their heads about them, themselves, their ideas, their thoughts, that they don't even know how, they can't express it in a clear, concise, and kind manner. They've never given any tools to do that, so they just react. They just do the thing. And they also know, I got to grind, I got to go, I got to make this money. And then when you say something to them about the chaos, well, I put a roof over your head. I'm a provider. I helped you out, didn't I? I made sure that you had food in your mouth and clothes on your back, a roof over your head. I did all this stuff for you. This is what they say. This is what they say. I just got my boomer parents to stop saying, "What's wrong with you?" as a reflex to everything. Big Penny, that's a big thing. What's wrong with you? Like, yeah, what's wrong? Just shove it down. Like, stop feeling stuff. Stop expressing your feelings. Just shove it down, because that's what we've always done. But it sounds like, what's wrong with you? It sounds like there's something going on there. It sounds like anger, frustration, something. Process that. But they didn't give me the tools. And so Gen X haven't been given the tools either. And so we pass it right on down to millennials, Gen Z. But look at us. Look at us. Look at us. We got that chaos too. We got it too. I mean, we got it too. Look, it happens. We got it too. But we got access to some tools. Like, here I am on TikTok telling you about this stuff. TikTok was really helpful for me in scrolling through and figuring out some therapy. And but I also went to therapy. It wasn't as chastised. It wasn't as taboo. So I went to therapy. I did 4 years of therapy, group therapy, until I started asking questions therapists couldn't answer. It was time for me to grow and get out of the space. But the point is that I got tools to process my feelings and my emotions. I get tools to understand more about who I am and why I'm angry, and what my incompatibilities are with other people, and what my frustrations or what my fears are, what things that make me happy. I got more understanding about this. And the wildest thing is that, they just believe that, well, you just get mad and it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. There's no feelings here. There's no feelings here for you to process. The connection is the demonstration that you understand another person's feelings, right? They don't understand their own feelings, so they may have a hard time connecting with you. So when we millennials and Gen Z go back to our parents and say, I feel like you've disappointed me, or I feel like you've been hurt, you hurt me. What do they say? What do these people say? When they can't answer your questions, it's time to grow. Miss, yeah, thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, it is. It's time to grow. So what do they say to you? They say, have you ever tried to tell your parents or anybody in these generations about how you feel? About how you have been disappointed by their behavior or hurt by something they've done? Instant reflex, this chaos up here. They tell you to get over it because they had to. Oh, that's a good one. They tell you to get over it. All this chaos. Look, I dealt with this. It's up here. I dealt with this, and I'm going to pass it right on down to you. So shut up. Shut up. No more of that garbage with you talking about your feelings. I did the best that I could for you. My boomer parent tries so hard, but it's like their brain can't process the facts, right? They can't. They don't have the skill set to do so. It's messy in there. It's chaotic in there. And that conversation went horrible with them. Oh, trying to talk to them. Recently did this in a low-key, bad way. Now no one's talking to me, but it feels peaceful. Go ahead, Rose. Hey, I advocate strongly for speaking your truth. I advocate strongly for saying what you really feel. And the world cannot help it but to respond. You're going to watch people respond, and it's really just good information for you. It's good information to discover how people are going to treat you based on what you share with them. But they can't handle this. They don't have the tools to handle your feelings. It's just going to reenact all the pain and frustration and sadness, and you're going to get more of this garbage here. I had to deal with it, so now I can treat you this way, Gen X. I can treat you this way, millennial, because my boomer parent did it to me, and I turned out just fine. Look at me. I'm able to put a roof over your head. I kept you alive. I did all the things you should be grateful for that you're missing out on, that you didn't praise them for. They can't handle that. They can't hear that. But listen, the idea here is that you get some of that chaos. You get that idea of incompatibility, but you have a little more time and tools to feel, to recognize the kind of relationships that you want. These people didn't get it. They were just like, well, I'm looking for a man who has, I don't know, money or something. Looking for the basics. Can they keep me alive? I'm thinking about women. Can they keep me alive? And the man is probably doing the same thing. Well, is she good looking? And that's it. That's it. That's it. But the fighting, the values, the core value system, and things like that. When it comes down to it, they didn't examine those things, and they didn't examine them either, because all you needed to do was just to work, make money, have kids. And we tried to get this. We were getting the same kind of programming too, the same kind of education, the same kind of belief system shared with us too. Essentially, figure out what you want to do when you're a kid, like 5 years old. What do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I want to be a fireman or a police officer, or I want to be a doctor. But you don't know. You don't really know. They're just like suggesting, here are some things that you can be. But there's a whole myriad of things that you can be if you just go out into the world and experience. But at 5 years old, 10 years old, what do you want to be when you grow up? Write a letter to your future self, and so forth and stuff like that. And then you are told to go to high school and graduate and then choose the career that you're going to have for the rest of your life, choose a major you're going to have for the rest of your life, when you've had barely little experience of feeling and connecting and deciding whether or not this is the thing that you really want to do. This is what I really enjoy. This is what's really exciting for me. These people didn't get that, and you started not to. And then you started to, as millennials, I'm going to say as millennials started not to. Millennials, by the way, are like 27 to 43. That's the age group for millennials, 27 to 43. So these millennials out here are like, well, wow, go to school, choose a career, get a partner, or get a job, get a partner, get kids, have kids. And they woke up in the pandemic like, wow, I didn't want any of this. They had an opportunity. What the pandemic did for a lot of us was giving us an opportunity to sit down and reflect. There's no more go, 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 go. There's no more chaos, and you got to get up and you got to go to work. You got to fight that traffic, and you got to be in the office, and you've got to stay there and deal with all the chaos that's there, and then fight the chaos to get home, and then be with your family, and then not have any time to think about you and process you. The pandemic was like, whoa, wait, we have time. There are no distractions. You're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. You're not going to get away. You're not going to get away from yourself. And so we had an opportunity here to really figure this stuff out, to start thinking about ourselves. Many of us have realized that the kind of relationships we have with anything, with our friends, we call them and say, look, I wish their game was on. I wish football was on. I want to talk to you about something, but I don't know what to talk about. Yeah, me neither. Click. And you realize that you have nothing in common with these people, except for the fact that you go watch sports together, or you might play video games together. And that's it. There's no other thing. And you're like, well, why? What's going on didn't realize that it was so incompatible. I didn't realize that. Now we have an opportunity to. We've got the tools and we have the time to recognize. So now we're starting to get this cleaned up here. Clean up this bit of chaos that's going on here. And if you're in that phase, are you starting to understand more about yourself? Let me know. I mean, are you starting to look into yourself? Did that happen to you during the pandemic? Did you look like to your left and then to your right and was like, I don't like any of these people. I don't like my job. I don't like nothing about this. How did I get here? How did I get here? Or maybe you were just like, I don't know what this is, but I want something more. I want something more. And the pandemic was a huge reset for every aspect in my life. Yeah. Anybody else? that reset, that understanding more about yourself, that looking around and deciding whether or not these people really care about you. And I know I lost friends in the pandemic. Well, I recognize rather the incompatibilities and my desire to have something else. That's what I recognize. I wouldn't say lost friends. I recognize that I wanted something more, and so did they. And now we're both freed to get what we want because we actually had to sit down and look at it. Had to sit down and look at it. So they never had this opportunity. I'm not saying that there's not stress or something. Not like there's like not. I'm gonna leave that alone. But they didn't have this opportunity. They didn't have this opportunity to do so, and we did. And we also had the tools. We had the tools to scrolling on TikTok. Lots of people making these kind of comments. Social media, articles written online, all kinds of stuff. The stigma from mental health has all but disappeared, right? And we get some clarity. We can now form, this is what this is. We're now forming, cleaning up that mess that's going on inside of our head. We're now forming this ability to understand more about us. What is it that I really want? What do I really want from people? How do I want to show up? How I want people to show up for me. You go ahead and you tell this to these people who told you it's okay to be incompatible. And guess what? You're going to run into all the stuff we talked about earlier. They're going to say, look, shut up. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have the same ideas. This is that incompatible piece where their ideas about how the world works doesn't match up with your ideas about how the world works. And so you want to go and you want to tell them about what you believe about how the world works. Look, this is my new beliefs. These are my new ideas. This is what I discovered about life. This is what I want to do. This is how I see things. And this is how also, by the way, how I see you. They can't hear that. They're not going to hear that. They're not going to hear that. It doesn't match. They don't have the tools to process, to understand us. I want you to recognize that. Now, we just talked about this as being, this is a family dynamic thing, but this is an anybody relationship dynamic. If you turn this person into a friend, and after you've grown and you've changed, and they're still the way they were because you used to have this, you used to have those same beliefs and ideas, and you had time to sit down and recognize that you want something different, and you start talking about the world in a different way. You say, hey, maybe I'm going to start a business, or maybe I'm going to quit my job, or maybe I'm going to leave my wife, or maybe I'm going to try cheesecake and I've never had it before. I don't know. But you say those things to them and you'll see the incompatibility pop up. Don't be afraid. I want to say, don't be afraid. If you are afraid of losing them, it's important to recognize that you're also letting go of something that could be. This conversation helps shine light on the perspective of other generations to give grace and patience. Yeah, absolutely. I like to give grace and patience to those people, to everybody, as much as I possibly can, because I know I was once doing this stuff to you. And I know that they don't understand what I know, and I don't understand their experiences and what created that for them. I didn't live it. I didn't feel it. I wasn't subjected to the same kind of things that they were. Grace and patience for these people for sure. So that's a really good comment. If you recognize that they can't hear you, be careful because you don't want to impose on them. If you want to keep some kind of relationship with them, you have to understand, you have to create some space with them. I'm talking about family members and people that you really, really, really care about, okay? We don't do this for everybody. We don't do this deep kind of stuff for everybody and hold space and continue. What we do, when you get better at understanding yourself, you're going to get space for other people. I'm talking to you people out there who are empathetic, who are understanding, who have big hearts. You're going to stop trying to tell them about how they need to be different You're going to stop telling them about how they need to be different and what they need to do. But you're going to see them as a person. This is chaos up here. This is a bunch of stuff. Okay. But you're going to start seeing them. This is in your mind. These are your beliefs and ideas about how the world works. Now you can see them clearly. It's like you don't know what chaos is happening to them and all this stuff. And now you're going to stop talking about you, and your beliefs and how they need to be different. But you're going to start talking about them and validating their experiences. You're like, wow, that was hard. Things were crazy. Quick story about how this worked out with my relationship with my mom. I'm transgendered, female to male. If you've never seen me before, so you probably wouldn't know unless I told you. But anyway, transgendered, female to male, and had frustration with my sexuality and gender for such a long time. And when I finally came to this point, because of the parents just wanting to help me live a fulfilling life and not do anything that was outside of the norm, afraid of rejection for me and all this stuff. So I was like, well, I need to be safe. I need to not express. I need to not explore. I need to not think about how I might feel. But it just came out anyway. That expression just came out anyway. So as I go in my life, I discovered that I'm going to transition. I'm going to say that I'm going to transition. And I remember having this conversation with my mom. I called to tell her I was going to transition, and she genuinely said, "What does that mean?" That's what she said. What does that mean? And I was like, I was mad. I don't know. Where did that anger come from? Where did that frustration come from? But I was mad that she asked me, and I reacted to it. And I was like, you don't accept me. You don't care about me or anything like that. I had that chaos going on inside of my head. And some years later, we had talked about that conversation. We had talked about that and how I was like, yeah, I remember when I said that because I thought that you weren't going to accept me. And she shared her side, her point of view. And she said, basically, I just didn't understand the whole process. When I grew up, that didn't exist. I didn't know anything about it. And furthermore, I want you to be safe. I don't want life to be hard for you because life was hard for them. I just want you to do all the things that are going to help you succeed. And that doesn't look like a thing that's going to help you succeed. It looks like you're going to be in more pain and you're not going to have kids and all kinds of stuff. And I was just like, wow, just hearing her side. And this conversation was only able to happen because I was secure enough in my own beliefs about who I am and how I show up, my desires and needs in life, not to go around telling everybody they have to believe what I believe. I've now had create more space for that person, anybody else to share their points of view. And now I can say it. I can say it without falling apart. Even if they said something to me like, oh, I don't like trans people and I never will, I never understand that, that's good for you. You keep that over there. But I still have my belief about how I am and who I am and how I show up. I still have that. And what you say doesn't change that. I change that. Me and my consciousness, we change that. We do that. You do that. We change we change the ideas about how we want to show up. We examine our feelings with self-reflection, understanding of the self. And when people don't make us do anything, people don't make us feel, we feel, and then we decide how we want to be. If we want to create more space between these people who tell us we're bad, who have an incompatibility, who frustrate us, who want more from us than what we want to give, if we discover that incompatibility, we see them for who they are, and we make a decision. Do I want to stay close, or do I want to step back? Do I want to stay close to people who don't appreciate me, who tell me I'm stupid, who don't like my dreams, who don't support my dreams, who make fun of me? recognize who they are, and then make a decision. This is really, really key into looking at this incompatibility. We start talking about those things that we believe and what we want. And if you don't know what you want, it's because you're probably working in this chaos right here. If you say something that, well, I just want friends. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. You want them to do something. You want them to show up for you in some ways. How do you want them to show up? What is it that you really want from those people? You got to be able to not only know what's in here, but you also have to be able to tell people in a clear, concise, kind manner. I cannot stress that enough. Clear, concise, and kind. Because if you run somebody who has chaos going on and you share with them in a not clear, concise, kind manner, it's likely to activate that chaos and you'll get more of it back. You'll get more frustration back from them. So I like people, you tell your friend, I like people who show up on time. You need to show up on time next time. Oops. I don't know who you think you're talking to. I don't know what this is. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to tell you, this is, you take it or leave it. This is how I am. I'm giving energy that you give right back. Funny thing is that when you become more aware of yourself and more enlightened, because you might react to that. You're like, well, just take it as it, I'm taking it as I am. All right. Like you might react to that and you might get mad at that. Chaos comes out of you too. Anger, frustration comes out of you too. But if you become more aware and you're like, oh, well, this is what I need, and you say that in a clear, concise, kind manner, you might still activate somebody's shame, guilt, embarrassment, the chaos that comes out at you. You recognize that you don't need to deal with that. Get that out of here. All right, that's how you're going to be. When I tell you what I need from you, that's how you're going to be. Then you get to make a decision. Do I want to be around this person? Probably not. I don't care if they are family. I don't care if they are your relationship, your partner, your romantic partner. I don't care how long you've known them. 10, 20 years as a friend, lifelong friend. No way. That's for me personally. Like, no way. No way. They seem really cool though. Maybe it's just this one little thing. I don't know. You go ahead and explore, decide, discover what it is that if it's compatible, continue to do the thing. Continue to do the thing. So if you got value here, because I see some people in the chat, thank you so much. Let's see what we got going on. Informative. Oh yeah, thank you. Kick them the F out. They don't deserve your energy. Unbridled space cowboy. You said that comment a while ago. I think it applies here too. It applies here too. Whatever it is that you're doing out there, protect your energy. Protect your energy. So I teach people to do that. If you'd like to learn more about how to do this, or not even, like, if you want to apply it in a relationship or an experience that you're having right now, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. Just go to the link in the profile right here. Link in my profile. Click on it. It'll say, yeah, don't go. Just leave TikTok. TikTok will be here. It'll come. It knows that you're going to come back because we're all just loving TikTok. Anyway, let's have a friendly conversation. So click on the friendly conversation and select the time to talk to me. You'll leave with actionable steps to start creating meaningful relationships. So my goal is to provide value to you as much as I can, to do all this stuff, but talk about it in your own personal experience in your relationship, because this is generalized, but I want to help you personally do that. So have a conversation with me, a friendly conversation with me. I'm going to leave you with some actionable steps to make those meaningful relationships, because I hate not having the next step set for me. It's just all inspiration. Oh, be better, be better. Well, how? How do I be better? Well, I can give you some words to share, some things to say that will help you. If you don't know what it is to say, if you don't know where to start clearing up that chaos, then let's start. Let's work together. Let's have a friendly conversation about it. So I'm going to ask you to be honest, and we can troubleshoot your relationships. A safe space to troubleshoot your relationships. That's what I offer for you right there. So friends, family, business, coworkers, anything else you've got going on. Also, thank you for being super open about your story. Best live poll I've seen this square so far. Thank you so much. Jans, I find that everything that I want to teach people it better be what I do. And I used to be terrified of sharing the fact that I was transgender to people because I thought they would treat me differently and I wouldn't like it. And sure enough, that happened. People did treat me differently, and sometimes I didn't like it, but other people treated me the way I wanted. And now I don't feel like I have to hide anything. I feel much better. So I teach people to deal with all that chaos because there's rejection that's going to come when you show yourself, when you become your authentic self, or when you tell people, when you discover what you really want, how you really feel, you move from all this chaos, you discover how you really feel, and you start telling people, people are going to reject you and other people are going to come close to you. Just be prepared for that. The rejection is going to be strong. What can you do if you're the only one who self-sabotages your relationships? You're self-sabotaging your relationships. It might be because of course, the chaos. Maybe there's a belief in there that says you don't deserve to feel this way. I'll tell you what, I was dating somebody, and this was after years of, I had a serious relationship in 2018. I think 2017 it ended or something like that. And I waited a couple of years. I was like, you know what, Lee, you need to figure yourself out. All the relationships that you've had, they ended because of you, because of me. I've done something, or maybe I don't know what it is that I want. Just sit down and relax and figure that out. So I spent a couple of years, as many people do, just being by themselves and just thinking about what it is that they want. Like, I don't need to be in a relationship. You ever hear anybody say anything like that? I don't need this. I don't need friends. That they're trying to figure themselves out, and they're taking space. I think it's an appropriate thing to do. I highly recommend taking space. But I discovered some things about what I wanted. And one of the things I did discover was that I don't want to fight. Because one of the things that I do in every single relationship is we fight. We just argue and fight. And I'm like, I don't want that. I just want to be able to talk about things. And I thought that was the most important thing. And so I meet somebody on one of those apps. I get out there on one of those apps and I meet this person. And we get into our first disagreement. And they had come over to my place, and I had this little love seat. They come over to my place, and I sit down, and they sit down, and they start the conversation. Yo, I felt so uncomfortable. I was like this. I had the closed body language. I was turned away from them. I was just so uncomfortable. But that's exactly what I wanted. A conversation. I didn't want to yell. I didn't want to fight. That's what I wanted. And I felt so uncomfortable that I just wanted to get up and leave. And that was my place. It was my place. So there's something in there. There's something in there that made me want to remove away from this. And I know it's because it was so uncomfortable. The familiar is familiar, even though it pains me. I'm mad, and I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm like, ah, rah, 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 but that's familiar. The other thing, to have a quiet, calm exchange, wasn't. And it caused fear in me. And I wanted to leave. So that could be happening to you on a little scale quite often. And we love to figure out, what is it that's causing you to feel fear? Like on a deeper level. What's causing the fear that makes you want to self-sabotage those relationships? Our relationship ended anyway because there were things that I missed on my list of things that I want from people that this person didn't have. So that happened. So a lot of self-exploration, understanding more about yourself. I hope that helped answer the question. Unsupportive or hurtful? I missed the comment. Revised edition, hello. I saw you popped in here. Yeah, so if you're not following me, please do. Follow me, do all kinds of stuff on my videos, interact with them, share the live with other people. If you've not seen any of my stuff before, welcome. I have all of my lives archived here, so you can find it here. And I also have a podcast. You can go listen to that. I release an episode every Tuesday if you like the sound of my voice. And of course, have a friendly conversation with me to talk about cool stuff that's happening in your life, how I can support you with actionable steps, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to live a life where we actually have direction and we know what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will give you some suggestions. And it's up to you to decide whatever it is you want, like giving you tools, giving you options, and helping you understand how they apply to your life. Stop creating these incompatible relationships with people that you really want to change, that you don't want to have anything to do with, but go find those relationships and go through that uncomfortable phase of being scared because you don't know what's out there. I've been through it. I hope to guide you through it. Last thing I want to share with you is the Art of Connections workshop. If you're at the stage where you are going out there to meet new people, you are going to talk, or you're just not sure if how to approach people, this Art of Connections workshop happening Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, is exactly what you need. So what we're going to do at this workshop is we're going to learn how to appear more inviting with positive body language. So using positive body language to invite people in, to draw them towards you. We're going to use conversation starters. We're going to talk about conversation starters, compliments, icebreakers to start the conversation with other people. And then we'll also learn how to share stories so that you can keep the conversation going. So all of those things is really, really helpful. It's like social skills, talking to people, getting those relationships before you get into things that are deeper like this, deeper compatibility relationship stuff. But you want to be able to talk to people. You want to be able to connect with them. So if you're not sure about what it is that you want, if you don't know what you're looking for, a really great way to start is to go talk to people. Just go talk to them. And if you don't know how to talk to people, the Art of Connection workshop is it for you. It's a virtual workshop. You're actually going to do actionable steps. You're going to practice with other people, and it's going to be really dope. You're going to leave with massive value, lots of knowledge. All right. I want to thank you so much for coming on live. I go live Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. So I will see y'all Saturday on these platforms. If you haven't followed me, follow me. Thank you so much, Alex, for the follow. I'll see y'all next time.